Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Dracy, a longtime inker for Marvel, DC, Cross-Gen, Dark Horse, Image, IDW, everybody. And I have 3 novels out on Amazon that are non-superheroes, and I will get to that later. They're thrillers, though. I have to tease you with that. So, in all honesty, Peter Parker's Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man, aside from that god-awful logo that stuck for way too long, it was just very pedestrian. Every issue seemed like a fill-in. The only difference, Gary Conway launched this book, and it was, believe it or not, the only time there was a second Spider-Man book. That was serious doings back in 1976. He only had one, not counting Marvel Team Up or the reprint Marvel Tales, or I don't know. That's about it. But his own solo title, a second one. So this is from the Essentials. I love these things. When they came out, I bought pretty much all of them because, when you're inking, you can see rendering depending on your favorite inker. I really loved the X-Men one that had Byrne and Austin. It's so breathtaking. Anyway, well, my biggest problem was, instead of being in the Daily Bugle, he spent his time on campus. He started off as a science major, and he became like a teaching assistant and all that stuff. And the cast, I'll give them points on diversity. They had like a lot of, integrated, characters, but they were all so bland. Some of them were just plot points or something for Peter to do until his next adventure. I really hated it. I stopped buying the book in its second year because it just wasn't doing it. It just seemed very disjointed and a poor way to present a new Spider-Man solo book. Okay. Enough with my ranting. I'm going to talk today about a character that's best forgotten, a character that got revived fairly recently with no little fanfare. I'm talking about Deb Whitman. She was she had a crush on Peter Parker, and he didn't really reciprocate it, and he kind of ignored her a lot. He was kind of a dick, in all frankness, because she was super friendly to him and did favors for him, not sexual favors, but favors for him. And he would always take off and say, what a good kid, but I can't, blah, 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 I gotta do this. What happened is, I guarantee the way Deb Whitman was created. Don't know if it was Bill Mantlo, Archie Goodwin, Roger Stern, but Spider-Man had Gwen Stacy for forever, and she died from the Green Goblin, and at the Green Goblin's hands. And Mary Jane came along, and for many years she was established as this party girl, always kind of like, hey, Tiger, blah blah blah, you look so down, da 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 da. And she was really more energetic and more involved with what was going on. And, by the way, they retroactively in the 90s said that Mary Jane knew who Spider-Man was since they lived next door to each other. Bullshit. You read those old Spider-Mans, she has no idea what's going on. She gets pissed off, and it's hard to justify. So, anyway, Mary Jane was proposed to by Pete around 78, 79, and she wasn't ready for it. And he was kind of crushed, and he had no romantic interest or, a woman in his life that he would talk to. And so they decided to flip the script. And instead of having Party Girl Jane, they got a Debbie Downer. And I feel insulting calling her that, but basically, if I went through what she went through, I'd be a Debbie Downer too. So they went with Deb Whitman, who was this mousy girl, and she was a human doormat. And I just remember reading these issues because I was still collecting at the time, and I thought, what purpose is she serving? I just don't get it. And also, the classmate or the teaching assistants and the staff of the Empire State University, they were kind of bland. There was one head of the group called Marcy Kane, and he was kind of infatuated with her because she was pretty, so he was being kind of shallow. And but he hung out with them, and it was the views, the images of Pete at the Daily Bugle were much more riveting. Hanging out on campus and not really doing much with the campus environs. It just kind of blah. Well, so what we got in the late 70s, early 80s was Deb Whitman, Human Doorstop. So around 1980 or so, maybe a little before, Marvel, with their main titles, or at least Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and a few others, they were really in a holding pattern. It's like we have to have Jameson throw a fit every issue, and Robbie Robertson has to say, well, as your city editor, da 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 da, and it was almost like not a directive, but it was kind of like they were afraid to change anything and just keep the illusion of change, but they were doing less and less of that, and it got really, really repetitious. I even stopped buying Spider-Man for a while because Harry as Green Goblin came back again and again, and then he go back to normal, and then he might get a hangnail, and then I remember who I am. I'm the Green Goblin. It's like anything could set that dude off. So, and also, I could go on and on, as you could tell. So, we're gonna get down to the nitty and or gritty about Debbie Downer. That was Deb Whitman. She was, I hate to say victim, but she was a victim. And Pete contributed to it with his callousness. Okay. Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man. Okay, well, I highlighted these word balloons so I can find them easier. Let me see. Maybe there's something earlier. Oh, yeah. Whoop. Okay. My known first appearance of Deb Whitman was in this crowd scene where they're trying to keep people back. Deborah says Marcy can dislike Pete all she wants as long as she keeps away from him. I think he's cute. So, me too. We all do. So, and later on, he's on the, he's on some kind of ship or something. Because no matter how I try to ignore it, Marcy's contempt for me is getting me down. What is it with her anyway? She's got brains, looks, and a tongue like an ass. Ooh. More on that later. No, I wish it was. So, then we go to Deb shows up. Because I don't even know why I pay attention to her. Maybe I'm attracted to her. Am I really that lonely since Mary Jane and I broke up? Pete? Oh, hi, Deborah. I didn't see you come up. No, you were lost in thought, wrestling with great rules of science. Don't kid yourself, Deb. So, he boosts her up. She boosts him up by being a brilliant scientist. And she's like, I'm only the secretary. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll go from a typing pool to a suburban swimming pool, complete with a husband and kids. He's like, you're rating yourself too low, lady. I wish I could believe that. And somehow when you say it, I do. Now that's a very nice hint, kind of, plant the seed of I like it. So all of a sudden the Human Torch does his occasional thing when he teams up with Spider-Man. He does skywriting with Flame. And Pete's like, hey, wait, what am I doing? Do I want to get involved with someone so soon? Deborah's cute, funny, and I do like her, but... Yeah, thanks, Pete. Peter, would you hold me, please? Peter! He's gone. I've driven him away with my insecurities. There should be a him in there. And all the others. Why can't I be stronger, more sure on myself? Why can't I make it on my own without looking like someone to lean on? Well, Pete takes August of all the rotten things to do to a nice kid like Deborah. blah, blah, blah. You're a prime example of a healer. Now, many a time, he calls Deborah a kid, which is kind of down. It's kind of degrading, really. I mean, she's a grown woman. She's got a job and everything, and they're approximately the same age. You know, maybe Parker's a little bit older. Well, okay. Excuse me for the poor reproduction of the pages. These wonderful essentials came out well before they were reprinted. Stories in Marvel Masterworks and Epic Collections and whatnot, so it's pretty fuzzy. Well, so he's just hanging out. She shows up. I hope I'm not disturbing you. I know you're very busy, so I went to the shopping list on your desk and I picked up some things you need for 7-Eleven. And I'm like, that's a really cool thing. That's romantic. That is romantic. Deborah Whitman, you're one in a million. Tell you what, I'm busy tonight, but grab me early next week and we have dinner, my treat. Dinner, really? I think I like that man very much. Okay. Well, I don't know what happened with the dinner. Maybe, I assume it happened. I thumbed through this, couldn't find anything else. But next time I see her, I found her was, hi, Deb. Did you get home all right? Well, that was a stupid answer, Parker. Oh, yeah, no trouble at all. A man called for you, blah, 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 blah. And she's so passive. And I just think they went too far in doing 180 on Mary Jane, because Mary Jane was she was all id. I mean, it was on her mind, she would say it. And, you know, and Deb seemed like she'd be upset by, like, a stiff breeze would send her over. So he goes, hey, Deb, I'm awfully sorry about leaving you stranded like I do. Believe me, I didn't want to, but I make it up to you somehow. Well, you never had that dinner date. I was like, oh boy, I can't wait till, and then I can blow you off again. So anyway, Deborah's apartment. I don't know what. I guess they had dinner. She goes, you sure you can't come in for a minute? I love to, kid, but I really have to split. See you in the office tomorrow. He only took me out because he felt sorry. Why do I think he really liked me? And I hated ditch Deb. Now, jumping ahead, some nice artwork. There's a lot of Jim Mooney in the first couple, like in the second year, and there's some Sal Buscema in the first year, and Marie Severin actually returns to penciling, and I love what she pencils. I mean, she's a production artist, and she's been working since EC Comics. Gotta swallow some water. I'm ready to take it on. Well, and she's penciling a lot of this, but they get like Bruce Patterson, who's an inker who I don't know anything about, but everything he touches turns to gold. His stuff, it's just amazing. I'll have to look him up sometime. Well, boy, Jonah Jameson didn't waste any time hitting on Spider-Man. Hitting on him? Does he ever? I had a lovely time last night, Peter. We'll have to try it again soon. My treat. Oh, yeah, sure, Deb. Blasted, I should have found this new Prowler, la, 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 la. And he's oblivious to the sound of one heartbreaking. So he's just kind of a dick. He's like, you're a good kid. I got nobody else to go to this movie to, so hey, real convenient. And so he gets out of the shower. He gets chewed out by Joe Jameson, which is everything he does in his waking hours. So there's a knock on the door. Oh, Peter, you gave me such a start. Deb Whitman, where are you? Just a neighbor. I thought I'd, drop by. Well then, enter freely and of your own will. This seance starts as soon as I fix my lamp. And he's like, something on your mind, Deb? You're awfully quiet. And she goes, no, it's just that I never talked to a man in a bathroom before. In a bathrobe before. Oh, I see. So here's a little big old inflatable Snoopy pooch thing. Gets a little bit burnt. So she kind of laughs. Forgive me for laughing. Ha ha ha. I do look pretty funny, don't I? So I'll dump the little Smokey here. She can get along without your stuffed friend. Hey, no problem. So takes off again. Excuse me. There's more. So there's a little flirting back and forth, but it's mostly Debbie, and Peter's just such a dick, like wrapped up in his own thoughts. I mean, we know he overthinks everything, but usually not at the expense of others. Usually not. So at the Greenwich Village apartment of Deborah Whitman. Who could be calling me this hour? Hello, Deb. Yawn. This is Peter Parker. I apologize for calling so late, but I have a problem. You're the only one I can turn to. Oh, that's all right, Peter. I understand. I'd love to go. And I'll meet you there at noon. Good night. Oh, Deb, what a friend. She's got to be one of the nicest women. If only I've ever known. If only she wasn't so timid. Peter, middle name dipshit Parker. There you go. You answered your own question. So she passes out, and and there's more. Dr. Octopus causes some chaos. I don't want to see anybody else hurt. No one wants to be hurt, Peter. To have something, but some things you have the chance for love. I know that, Deb, maybe too well. So do I, Peter. So do I. Goodness me. Oof, I ain't redoing this. Coughs and all. I'm keeping it. So he introduces Deborah to Aunt May and Nathan Lubinsky, who was her one-time fiance, but it went nowhere. He got mixed up with gambling and shit. So that is, look at that, $16.99 for a big honking amount of pages. And at the time, I didn't care it was in black and white. I mean, as an inker, it was intriguing as hell. So we're gonna go on to a beautiful book, The Marvel Universe by Frank Miller. I believe he's inking himself on this, and this is a very early sign of his inking style, and it's really, really great. Reprints a lot of his early stuff, I don't want to jump ahead. I just don't. I'll have none of it. Okay, lots of great stuff. A great book I recommend. Well, Pete's teaching a class, and a Bunsen burner falls and burns, but it's actually a distraction so Pete can get out. And it's like, Parker, I should have known you were behind. I can't explain now. Dean Jastron. Good. Oh, hi, Debbie. Why are you running? Why are you late? Were you called to give me? When you called, you said the group we're going to see perform till tonight. I realized my color was on the way down. What the blue blaze is wrong with me? I feel fine. I just got tickle in my throat. Maybe I should put a cough drop in my gob. So he runs out. Oh, hi, Deb. Why are you running this late? When I called you, you said the group we're going to see doesn't perform till midnight. I realized the club's downtown. I gotta go. Duty calls. Duty always calls when Deb Whitman is his date. Oh, well, maybe he's telling the truth. But I doubt it. And, that is the one image I always think of when I think of Deb Whitman, which isn't much, but, I just think they went too far. I mean, like I said, she's the anti-Mary Jane, and, she was always the schnook who got stood up. And so Pete's in this nightclub, and the band performing is Shrapnel. They're, give me a second. I'm getting me a cough drop, god damn it. Okay, everybody. Stay close. Stay close to your whatevers. Oh, there we go. Okay, my apologies. It's probably the weather. Allergies. Okay. I should do a two-parter, but fuck it. Alright, well, Inside this club, I love the double lighting on Pete's face. They're seeing a band called Shrapnel. He goes, I understand why Debbie digs this group. She likes her music loud. And they have a beat you can feel to the marrow. I'm like, she doesn't strike me as someone who likes her music loud. She strikes me like when she gets really wild, she'll put on some Christopher Cross. That's when she's cutting loose and having fun. So he's walking around. Hey, sport, did we go to school or someplace? Oh, we might have. And she's hitting on him. Pete? I didn't realize you were someone. I'm not with anyone. What am I, chopped liver? Deb, wait. So she bails out, you know. I'm sure she's more fun to be with. Bumps into this guy who is a sorcerer who's bringing around the Bend Sinister with Dormammu. And that's this annual number 14. And the following one, 15, is just out of this world. Well, honest, Debbie, I didn't stand you up. To prove it, we're going to an all-night steakhouse on 3rd. I'll buy you a New York City meal exactly. And he texts, later, Deb. Tomorrow I'll call you. You don't have to bother. I hate being Deb like that. I feel like a perfect rat. And I don't know if he calls her a kid or not. Well, but he just doesn't really have respect for her. And that's the weird thing. It made him unappealing in this story, in this storyline. Well, there's Shrapnel, a real band that I think Frank Miller was in at the time, so they got like a little cameo, and that's always cool. Okay, we're done with that book. I'm not coughing anymore. My mouth's going smack, smack, smack. But, okay. So much is going on. But, to avoid this from being a 2-hour episode, I'm going to jump ahead. Like, 2 years later, you want me to go through this all again? My fantasies? I love that effect. She goes, Oh, this is Deb. But try to imagine what it's doing to me. That my ability to carry on a relationship with the boy I love, either Peter Parker as Spider-Man, or I am hopelessly insane. So, and what's funny though is you never really saw her get a little wild. I mean, she's always written mousy, which was kind of a disrespect. I mean, they could have at least had her crawl over the table and take her ponytail off and swish it around in front of Pete's face, kind of like in Talladega Nights, imitating that Whitesnake video. That would have been kind of neat, but we're never giving her anything really to make her appealing, and just because of that, Pete's just treating her like crap. Okay, go on. Well, we get to the end of our Mary story. Well, not Mary. Well, next issue, the mind-shattering conclusion to the Deb Whitman story by popular demand. Peter, no, go back. Save yourself. I'm Spider-Man, man. Nobody tells me what to do. And she relays the story. Until I wake up screaming, sick with worry that the boy I love is again endangering himself as Spider-Man. You're confusing reality with fantasy. That is no help, doctor. Tell me what's wrong with me. Don't tell me how to deal with it. The incredible strength he's occasionally shown, the fact that he's always on the scene and he takes pictures when Spider-Man swings into action. He must be Spider-Man. Now, that is actually incredibly clear rationale, because Spider-Man has to be somebody. Somebody has to be Spider-Man. And if you're around somebody who's doing all that stuff, it's not a crazy thing to do, but she's had, a series of mental illness, and it will be revealed later, and you could decide if it's handled well or not. Well, she goes that, and the therapist says, Mr. Parker, I trust you heard. And he goes, I heard, Doc, and I'm stunned. He tells him to put on a Spider-Man outfit, costume. Now, here's the thing. I know therapists, and this is a colossal betrayal of their oath and their what they do. It's, you do not have somebody eavesdrop on someone else's session. That's a no-no, big time. And but this is comics, and they got to keep coming out. Well, am I jumping ahead? Well, basically, the guy wants Pete to dress up as Spider-Man. He shows up at her place. You are real, aren't you? This isn't another one of my fantasies. I'm real, Deb. Take off my mask and see the truth. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. See, I'm Spider-Man. You aren't crazy. You never were. La 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 la. I like the Jim Mooney inks on this. I mean, Marvel was really generous with Jim Mooney. They gave him a long career, and that's a great thing. So, depending on, some people don't like his inking. That's okay. Deb, are you all right? And what goes on? That's what I get for not having fingernails. And she starts to giggle. Oh, Peter, thank you. Huh? For what? You've shocked me back to my senses. Made me realize what a fool I've been to let myself and my fantasies run away with you again. Peter Parker, you're the best friend I ever had. I would qualify that with a pretty good acquaintance, maybe. So she goes to a bus station, and she had been... Oh, I gotta get past it. I'm jumping ahead. Hang on. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. He goes to see her then boyfriend, Biff Rifkin. Very much a prototype for the yuppies of the 80s, because this came out in 1980. He goes, unless you notice Deb's problems, you're not really the observant type. That chick's nuts about you. All you've done to her, just like that rat of her husband. Her husband? Yeah, she was, but she's separated now. She went to college in the Midwest. And Debbie, how's life? And then later on, Biff Rifkin saw her with a black eye. So he goes in, takes out the husband, takes her away. And she's still sort of in a Stockholm syndrome that her husband's a really good guy, really. How badly do you have to hurt you before you wake up to tell the truth? Okay. Sorry, a little backstory there. I thought it was crucial. Come on, fingernails, or lack thereof. So she goes back to the Midwest, and he goes, are you sure that returning to the Midwest is the right way to deal with your future, Deb? Before I can deal with the future, I've got to resolve my past. I'm going to divorce my husband and try to start over. I know a certain Biff Rifkin who will be glad to hear that. Keep in touch with Biff. I'll keep in touch with Biff and with you, Peter. Good. Do that, lady, and good luck. So, it's such a weird saga. I don't know who originated her. I don't know how, if they ever coordinated what she was. They might have just said, "Oh, she's just a doormat," And they really kind of went overboard with that. Sorry for not. I'm going back to this book here. I love these little critters. They're like Cheech Wizard from the Undergrounds, or Baudets. Cheech Wizard. I love that one too. But Going back to classic Deb Whitman. This is what I always will remember. And it's not right. Wow. Frank Miller. What a treat. Well, anyway, there was the one where she was in the rain moping. So, that's about it. Recently, in the 616 universe, I hate saying that, she's made a revival. And, she's nothing like she was. I mean, she's got her act together, and, I mean, I'm not saying she was more of a victim than anything, because she was mild, she had an abusive husband, and it created a ton of mental problems, because it's a very horrifying thing to go through. So, that's it. That's it on Deb Whitman. And, anyway, I'll see you next episode. I hope you like it. Now, please, 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 see this button down here that says like? Please, please click it. And please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And leave a comment. What I would really love a comment on is ideas for future episodes. I don't have a Patreon account. I get no money from this. I'm just doing it because I'm a comics fan, a comics geek, down to my very inky blood. So, that's it. And I thank you all for putting up with some more gibberish. And I'm going to have a theme song coming up soon. I just got to work it out. All right. Peace.